on the show today. It is a pleasure to have you. We met a few months ago at an event where we were talking about, and I think the stars were aligning with, several of us as we were getting to know people and networking with people and just meeting all the people that happened to be there that were in the relationship fitness niche or relationship improvement or help kind of niche. And it really intrigued me talking with you. You were just sitting right behind me, and I turned around, I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's your thing? And you started to explain to me what it was, and I was like, oh my God, here we go again. I have yet met another person that, can put something out there to help people in relationships. So before I butcher it all up, can you tell the crowd, tell the gang here what you do and how you help relationships and people in relationships?
So I consider myself a life mastery strategist, and my feeling is you really can't truly live a full life unless every area of your life is working, and it's working at a level 10. And I find that one of the most challenging areas that truly affects every area of your life, and I'm talking finances, career, health, everything, is relationships. So we're always having to tackle relationships with the singles that I work with the couples that I work with, and really look at how do we improve the dynamics between couples or people who are single. How do you open the door to creating a beautiful relationship and really bringing that miracle vibe into a relationship, so you end up being the top 3% of relationships, not I don't even know what the rate is, over 50% of people who split up and the divorce. So it really does take some skills, some knowledge, some awareness, some consciousness, and that's what I offer. That's what I bring. So I do group coaching, and I teach actual curriculum, and then I work one-on-one with people to go deeper into the area that they need support in.
That's awesome. Yeah, to me, relationships, and I've said this in other episodes, but relationships are really the foundation of our societies.
Absolutely.
Of our neighborhoods, of how well they're going or how tragic they're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're in a beautiful relationship that's supportive and you're feeling loved and cherished and adored or respected as a man, you can really get through anything throughout the day, and you're actually more successful and more ambitious, and it's like the law of attraction. All of a sudden good things start happening. So it really does make a difference. And when you're in a bad relationship, unfortunately, it can wreak havoc in every area of your life. People try to ignore that part of their life and try to function, and they don't do a very good job.
Yeah, I have, some employees at work, and, I can always tell when something's going on at home. Or I'll maybe ask, hey, what's going on with such and such? I'm like, just, they broke up with a girlfriend or not, but then you try to leave it at home. But if things are not going well at home, and I've been there too, if things are not going well at home, it detracts from everything else going on in your life, and especially your profession, because you're focused on what's going on at home versus trying to earn money or trying to do a good job or trying to take that next leap in your business. It's just, and that's why it's so important. Right? It's so important to have a great relationship and do what it takes to keep that relationship great or get it back up to a great status, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yes, you see firsthand how it affects people at work, and it really does bring you down. So I bring people back to the dynamics between the male-female energy and how to create the positive dynamic, so both people are becoming more of who they're supposed to be, who they are, the best of themselves, and they're feeling more supported and more loved, and in essence they become more successful when they're able to do that. So that's really because it takes two to tango. And I know sometimes we try to fix a relationship on our own, and there absolutely are things we can do on our own to create that dynamic, but it does take an awareness from both parties.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's one of my interests in kind of I don't know, puzzling thing, or maybe a submission of the podcast and all that about is like there's so many relationships out there that begin when they have no business beginning, or they happen so fast, and it's all the physical, like the typical club scene, right? It's like,
yes.
Oh, you're hot, I'm hot, let's dance, and next thing you know, we're in bed together, and a couple weeks later, hey, you remember me? We're gonna have a family, So,
yes.
And then, okay, well, you try to do the right thing, the quote unquote right thing, right? Necessarily the right thing, but and all of a sudden you have an instant family, but things happen so fast, and people don't understand the dynamics between the male, female, and just the dynamics of the different, I guess, verse of the male, female, and the psyches there, and so, can you talk about the initial attraction between men and women and the challenges there of, I don't know, maybe tempering that a little bit, or keeping your head about you, and success, and what maybe some of the leading causes of failure in that area?
Absolutely. So, the attraction phase is really the first phase in getting into and building a relationship, building that foundation. So it's not anything we can ignore, but it is something that we have to be aware of, and absolutely what you were saying is slow things down. Now, when you look at the attraction phase, there's certain things about men that make them attracted to women, and certain things about women that make them attracted to men. And so that initially brings people together, and then there's just kind of a spiral up of the energy and the exchange between them that just creates magic in relationships if it's done the right way. And so it really does. So one of the things so where things start. So let's just start from the beginning. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the beginning of the attraction phase is, and it's two parts. It's the woman and the man. And really, as much as we, I don't know if I call myself a feminist, but I'm a modern woman. And really don't want to take us back 100 years, but really the attractive part of a woman is her sexual energy. And so it's being attractive, it's taking care of her body, it's taking care of the way she looks, it's dressing, in a beautiful, sexy way, not slutty, but something that makes her feel beautiful. And, a lot of women try to fight, well, I don't want to, they should like me for who I am inside. But a man can't get to the inside unless they see the package. We never go to a store and look at an ugly package and say, I think I might buy this appliance. I'm sure there's something nice inside, right? We look at the great package. And so for a woman, part of her challenge, or what she can do to improve that attraction, is by doing whatever it takes to make her feel beautiful. And again, that's taking care of how she dresses, taking care of her body, taking care of how she looks. So the woman is exuding that beauty, that sexual energy, that's very attracted to the man. Now, one of the reminders that I have to give my single women is you have to allow the man to be the man. You have to allow the man to come to you. You have to allow the man to almost, and again, I'm going to talk very stereotypical just to make points. Right. But you have to, in essence, allow the man to prove his worth to you. The man, what makes a man very attractive to a woman is his ability to protect and to provide for her, to give her that stability, to give her the sense of, I can take care of you. Because if he impregnates her, she needs to know on some cellular level that he can actually take care of the bills while she's down, giving birth. So there's that primal sense.
Like the caveman days, right?
Absolutely. And we're still cavemen and cavewomen on a deep level. And then but then I'm going to take you to how we evolve and how that interaction
our brains developed, right? Evolutionary, that's how our brains developed, right?
Absolutely. So what the man can do to make himself more attractive is to prove his ability to protect and provide for her. So it's things like paying on the first date. It's things like his stature, being doing whatever he needs to do to stand up tall. So physically, he's taking up more space than her. It's providing her the safety by being consistent with his phone calls, and I'm talking dating here. The initial attraction is a man who will take a woman out on a date and then not call her for a week or two, doesn't give her that sense of protection or stability. And so it doesn't make him attractive. I know there's a game a lot of men play is, let me just play it cool, or let me go out and date a lot of women, but he needs to understand that women lose their attraction to him. So when there's
let me ask you there, because I'm a single guy.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of have been there, and what's the balance, because it's like, well, I don't want to seem like I'm, stalking, that's kind of the extreme of calling you, 3 times a day and, hey, what you doing, where you going, what's the balance there of not seeming too creepy because you're just trying to stay in touch so much, but not overdoing it with not showing you're not interested.
Right. Well, there's a couple of things to show your interest without being overly, stalkerish. And again, there's also different rules depending on age and depending on parts of the country as well. So, but I would say some safe things seal a second date before that first date ends. That makes a woman feel safe. One thing that if she has a plan to look forward to and she knows she can count on seeing you, even if it's a week out, there's a sense of connection to him and excitement to him, and wow, he's really making me important. Now, if she's not interested, then you're reading the cues, and she may cancel later on. So there is that option. I always say the man's burden is rejection, and the woman's burden is waiting. So a man's, in essence, his role is to put himself out there, to ask a woman out for a second date, to court her. But the woman, her burden is sitting back and waiting. When she starts taking initiative, then she becomes the man in that relationship. And even though it may be exciting initially, the attraction, the sexual energy between them will fade.
And I think too many guys, and I fell into this early on in my young dating career. It sounds kind of wrong saying career, but is that I think so many guys are so afraid of that rejection. You gotta kind of think about it in business and sales. You can't be afraid of the 9 no's, because you've got to get through that 9 no's or 99 no's in sales, right? To get to that one ultimate hallelujah yes.
Yes.
Right. So, and that's in dating, you're gonna get people that are just not vibing with you. They may like your picture, but then in person they're like, I don't like this vibe, right? But you gotta have kind of a tough skin during dating, right? And understand that you're gonna get rejected. You're not gonna like anybody, but you don't want that person anyway. You want the person that's going to be like, yeah, I'm looking forward to that second date. And then maybe midweek she's texting you saying, or even calling you saying, hey, I'm so excited about our next date. Can't wait. Just want to let you know, kind of a thing, right?
Absolutely. Although I do coach women not to initiate phone calls and texts for a while. Because again, it's man stepping into his male role. I mean, he's and it is a tough job. It is a tough job, putting himself out there. Even if you look at the way the man is physically built, he's out there. He's exposed. He's going to risk rejection. But I think part of awareness and consciousness is being in tune with the cues that a woman's giving you. One thing about women is, and I coach women, and they agree on this, because it takes a woman a while to really decide if she wants to be with a man. With men, they look at a woman and it's kind of like yes or no within the first few seconds. And it usually has to do with sexual energy. It's yes, could I sleep with her, or no, do I not want to sleep with her? And that initiates that attraction. For women, she has to spend more time with him to understand, again, it's more than attraction. The attraction comes later for women. It's more of, can this man take care of me? And not in an old-fashioned sense, pay my bills and all of that stuff. It's can I trust him in my life? Is he going to make a decision? That's why it's also very attractive for a man to not put it on a woman to figure out where we're going to meet the first night or 2 or 3 dates. It's make a decision. That makes her feel safe. That makes her feel protected. That makes her feel like, he can make things happen out in the world, and that makes it more attractive. So with women, they are, they know intuitively it takes about 3 to 5 dates to know whether or not they like a guy. And I coach women on that who are just quick in the dating game, to move on to the next person. Men, might do well to at least give it 2 to 3 dates, because if you're looking for that sexual energy, if she's very protective because she's having to, protect herself from men, from being hurt, from being used or taken advantage of, he may not feel any chemistry or vibes from her until she starts to feel safe. And it may take 2 or 3 dates. So if I would coach men on any, and again, it's a tricky thing because men are pretty clear of, there's no chemistry, I'm done in the first few minutes. But if they can give it a couple of dates, 2, 3 dates, they might be pleasantly surprised and end up with someone amazing with some fabulous chemistry.
So it kind of resonates with me. It's like, I tell my friends, it's like, it's the physical, it's the look, the thing that initially attracts me to a woman. Mm-hmm. But it's the personality, it's the subtle things in between, right? That you really fall in love with. The looks will change, right? But if you have that chemistry, it's the spirit of that person, the soul of that person, that you really fall in love with or repel from, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Because again, we're talking just the initial attraction, the initial coming together of a couple. Yeah. And it builds on there. And part of it is, once a man has, in essence, I don't want to say caught the woman, but somehow expressed his interest, and she's now available and open to him. That sexual energy becomes focused on him now. So rather than her just being, beautiful and sexy out in the world, out in the world and attracting all kinds of attention, or maybe using that energy to be successful at her work, now it's focused on him. Now she does need to wait a while to give him that energy, to in essence go to bed with him until she feels more of that protection, that safety, that security. And for a woman, it may take a commitment. It may take exclusivity. It may take, several dates. It may take months of dating. So whatever it is for her, she really does need to feel safe and secure, and know that after she has sex with him, will he still be there? Right. So if she does that, and a lot of women don't, a lot of women, dilute that energy, which ends up making her feel very empty and ripped apart, in essence, very bruised and battered. And she carries that with her into the next relationship unless she does work to clear that out. So it's very hard for women to truly channel that energy in a positive way when it's getting diluted and when it's given before the man earns it. So in essence, the man does need to earn it. So when she gives him that energy, I mean, it's beautiful. This is like the nectar of life. When a man and a woman come together and make love, I mean, this is just this beautiful sexual creative energy that gives a man life. He can't get that on his own. He can masturbate all he wants, but he's not going to get the benefits of this devotion that comes from making love with a woman. Right. And when he gets that, what happens is it feeds his power. So when he gets fed through that, when he's given that creative sexual energy, it feeds his power source. And so the beautiful thing for the man is it makes him more ambitious. It makes him stronger. It makes him more successful. A man who's having great sex is always going to make more money, is always going to climb the ladder quicker, is always going to go further in life. You know, you always hear the cliche behind every great man or successful man is a great woman. It's because he's getting fed that beautiful energy, and it's that devotion. And what where a man can go wrong is by having sex with a lot of different women, or not really embracing that energy from that one particular woman. Now, he could have sex with a lot of women and be very successful, but then there's a downfall later on that we'll get to. So you do see, those successful men, they're cheating on their wives, or they've got all these mistresses, and again, that feeds his power center. So having sex is really great for a man. It's also wonderful for a woman, but it's really powerful for a man. It feeds his power center. Now, what a man can do with that energy now is he becomes, like I said, more successful, he increases his status in life. It makes him more ambitious, so he can really go further in life. What ideally should happen is he's now being fed in his power source. What ideally happens is he now feeds her power source. So because she's given of this devotion, because she's given of her sexual and her creative energy and this beautiful energy of life, the way he repays her is by increasing her status. And it could be a marriage proposal. It could be wining and dining her. Because he's making more money, he's in essence saying, you're part of my success. Let me give you these flowers. And again, I'm talking very stereotypical. The diamond bracelet or things like that. It's really a sign that I honor your part in my success. A few days ago was Rocky's 40th anniversary. Rocky Balboa, that movie
Wow.
Yes, 1976. I love Sylvester Stallone. And I was watching this replay of a scene where he's just bruised and battered, and he just got beat up by what's his name?
Creed.
Yes, Apollo Creed. And he's just a mess, and the fight is over, and they're trying to interview him, and all he's doing is yelling, Adrian! It's that famous scene, Adrian! Adrian! And it's such a beautiful scene, because in that moment, he, in his success, which was a success, he survived that fight. I know there was, it ended up being a draw. He wanted her by his side. He was recognizing her as a source of his strength. And that's the gift that the man can give back to his woman. And when he feeds her power center, when she feels not left aside, not left at home, not a bother, not, you're a gas station, so when I feel empty, let me go fuel with you. We'll have sex and then I'm going to go live my own life. It's when he truly feeds, because that's what it feels like sometimes. When he truly feeds her power center, then she's able to touch her heart and give her love, that unconditional love to him.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of men are missing.
But so I downloaded this picture, and I had this thought, kind of a shift. We're talking about the man, woman, and kind of the stereotypical kind of stuff between a man and women, which is evolutionary. I think there's lots of dynamics out there that are different now and that kind of thing. But one thing that really just kind of been coming to my mind lately is, in today's society, in today's successful relationships, it's not about so much behind every successful man is the woman, but kind of what you're talking about, playing into her power center of now bringing her into the light and
Yes.
saying, look, it's not just me. We're side by side on
Yes.
this journey. We're a partnership in this journey. It's not she's behind me, I'm the face of everything. It's like, and I think that's the importance for the man side, to have everybody recognize that, look, this is where I get my energy. This is where, I get my connection from, and why I keep doing what I'm doing and how long I do it and how strong I do it, all that other masculine stuff.
Yes.
It's because this is my partner. You know, she's not behind me. She's not in front of me. We're side by side on this journey in life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a woman's energy that in essence puts him kind of in front of her and puts him on a pedestal for a while. But he can't stay there forever, otherwise she's
Right.
going to feel empty and used and alone, and eventually she'll leave and he'll be left standing there with nothing. So yes, it is the woman, and it's just our nurturing nature to take care of people that we do that, and then by paying by recognizing her part in his success, and even as he improves his status and as he improves his finances and becomes more successful, now he can turn around and support her dreams. So at this point is where he says, honey, you know, what would you love? Is there a business you want to start? Is there a book you want to write? Is there what can I support you in? I totally believe in you. And at that point, that's when she can start living her life and her dreams, and have his support and have him back her up. And when she does that and she gives of that unconditional love, it comes up, the energy now moves up from the genitals where we started with the attraction up to the heart. And now she's able to give him that unconditional love, which is really what every man and woman is craving on a very, very deep level. And for him, when he receives that, and his success, his status will soar even further because it's exponentially stronger than that power center. So when he receives that unconditional love from a woman, he will see his again, will create so much more success. And the bonus there is that he becomes fulfilled in the process. You see a lot, and I've worked with very successful men, and you see a lot of successful men who have achieved greatness, great status, they're famous, they're making a lot of money, they're running big companies, but they feel empty. And it's because they've kind of forgotten the people, their families, in the interim, and they're not receiving that unconditional love, because a woman can't do that while she's continuing to give, because eventually she's going to be depleted. Yeah. So, when you look at the male-female dynamics, it really is, even though a woman is very nurturing and giving, she does have to allow the man to give to her before she fully gives. Otherwise, she becomes the mother. And the mother is always empty. She has to refuel somewhere else.
Yeah. So kind of along those themes are kind of like traditional relationships, traditional marriages where the man is like taking focus. How do you coach or talk to couples where they come together and they're kind of both being successful in business? It's kind of more... Well, and maybe, and even today, probably more and more, right, women are becoming the breadwinners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And having a more successful career.
Yeah.
And I know somebody that is just exactly like that. The wife makes a lot more money than the man, and they're doing good. But how do you coach along those lines of the differences in traditional versus contemporary relationships, and both having a career and hard charging it, and
mm-hmm.
and how do you thread that needle?
Yeah. No, that's a really great question, because I still feel the dynamics still hold, and it looks different in every relationship. One of the things that I tell my successful women is, when you come home, I need you to change. Change out of your business suit, change out of your business clothes, and put something feminine on. And so, right as she walks in the door, she's becoming the woman in the home. The woman, the sexy, beautiful woman to her man. So that's number one for her. For him, even though she may be making more money than him, there's got to be a sense still that he's providing for her, that he's taking care of her, because that will only last so long. Eventually she's going to feel, like she's the man in the relationship, and what I've seen in those type of relationships is the couple just stops having sex. There's no attraction there.
Nobody wants that.
What's that?
Nobody wants that.
Exactly. So for the man, he still needs to to provide that sense of protection, stability, security. It can look a number of different ways. It can be making sure he opens the door for her every time they get into the car. It can be, you know, I'm a big proponent on joint accounts, even if it's just joint fun account. And the man is the one that pulls the credit card out at the restaurant. So it's not the woman always paying. She's the mother when she pays. You know, and he's not, you know, nobody wants to have sex with their mother, so he's going to lose attraction to her. And she doesn't want to, you know, have sex with somebody she's taking care of. So that attraction both ways is going to go away. So things like having a joint fund account and he pulls out the card or he pays for dinner. Making decisions. So even though she may be making more money, he still is that masculine energy making decisions in the home for the relationship, for their vacations, for purchases. Not that you know, he's doing it for her, but he's there's a level of trust built there where she can respect that he's making good decisions for both of them. Being able to, you know, I had to coach a couple out of doing the every other. They would eat out a lot, so every other dinner they would go back and forth, and it was just a real source of contention because they would forget whose turn it was. And again, she never felt like a woman, and he was just, you know, it would just create a lot of tension for them. So there's a number of ways that the man can still be the masculine energy in the relationship. Yeah, does that answer your question?
It does. It kind of brings up another one. You know, you mentioned, we were talking before about feminism and women power and that kind of stuff, and you know, women coming into their own. How does a woman not, you know, who feels, I imagine there's some women out there that would feel that, well, I make the money, and, you know, I make more money, so I should have more power, kind of confusing those roles of evolution, right? Not. Yeah. How do you coach that, you know, you being the feminine in the relationship is not insulting your womanhood, not detracting from your successes or the fact that you make more money? Mm-hmm. How do you coach them to understand that? Because I fully believe, you know, we can have society changing, but our evolutionary brains and how our psyches and energies have developed are so way behind the way society is trying to dictate, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you, and I don't know if I'm butchering the hell out of this question or not, but how do you kind of coach somebody into, you know, it's not about pride, it's not about ego and how much you're making, but, you know, to have a relationship work, you really need to be in touch with the feminine and masculine energies and how they work to make the relationship work, not about money, not about power. I mean, in a way, it's kind of maybe a little bit about power, but just maybe not even power, but just the energies and how to understand them and work with that different dynamic of, well, I am woman, well, I am man, kind of a, you know, competition thing there. I butchered that up really good.
No, that was great. That was great. And actually, I'll be honest with you, it's really tough to have a relationship when the woman feels like she is earning, and she knows she's earning a lot more money, and he knows he's earning a lot less money, and she knows she's providing and supporting him, because resentment is bound to build up. Plus, again, the woman is not able to just sit and relax and feel taken care of if she's out, you know, being the breadwinner. So, excuse me. So it does. It does take having a woman and a man who's okay with that. Where really for the woman, it's knowing that, okay, she makes more money, but this is our money, or she makes more money, and we're gonna split it this way, or we're gonna pay our bills with this amount, and this is, you know, our spending money, or however it looks. Because when you look at power, money is power. I mean, that's just a fact of life, is money gives you the power to make decisions and to do things and to purchase things you want. And so money's always been equated with power. So when you look at an imbalance between male and female. If the woman has the money and the man doesn't, then there's an imbalance of power there. So they really do have to navigate through that, and they have to, I believe it comes from both sides. The woman has to not see, I don't want to say not see money as power, but in essence, she has to let go of the power that her money gives her. And she has to be willing to do that. And he has to be willing to be ambitious or to earn more money or to take care of her in other ways. Because, again, it's not a forever deal. If he's doing work he loves, but he's got a cap and she's far surpassing him, then that's another thing. You know, he's being ambitious in his own right and he's providing in his own right and he feels good about his career and he's providing in other ways, maybe taking care of her. You know, it's being there for her. It really carries a lot of weight for women. And again, it's when you look at those ideals, stability, protection, security, if he can provide ways that is meaningful for her to feel stable with him, to feel protected by him, to feel provided for by him, then they can work. So it's really about what she needs. You know, I'll be honest, for me, it's physical stature. I need a tall guy. and I know that sounds silly, but it makes me feel protected. When I'm with someone who is someone who's smaller than me, I end up feeling like I have to become smaller. And it doesn't allow me to step fully into my femininity and feel beautiful and feel taken care of. I feel like I have to take care of them.
Yeah.
And so that's what it could.
To understand, you know, so many people, I don't think they even take the time to understand what their likes and dislikes are and why.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, so I think that's huge that you even come to that understanding, that awareness of, well, I want a taller man because of this, and this is how it makes me feel, and not feel guilty about it, but embrace it and feel good about that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it does. It takes so a man and a woman has to know what do they need. We'll start with the woman. The woman has to know what does it mean to her to feel protected or stable, and she may need to communicate that with him. So even if he's not earning money, it may mean I was engaged to someone who was earning less than me at one point, and I needed to give him my credit card to pay for things because I didn't feel feminine when we were out, and I would pay. So for me, that worked.
Yeah.
So however it works for the woman, for the, you know, and the man, what can he do to really step in his masculinity? Because what happens when you don't have that agreement and that arrangement and that dynamic where, you know, again, it takes communication, is the man will eventually feel less like a man. And then he will blame her for making him feel less like a man, even though in essence he's the one earning less money, or he's the one not protecting, or he's the one, you know, whatever it is, or he's the one not sharing in the status with her when we talk about the power center. He's going to blame her, and then he's going to go out and cheat on her because he's going to try to find somebody that will make him feel more like a man. So both the man and the woman need to take responsibility for that.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on thing there. You know, we were talking about that whole dynamic there, and it's really, how are you approaching the relationship? Are you approaching it from a me perspective, or a we perspective? You know, when you're talking about the joint accounts and that kind of thing, and if you're really going at it an egotistical, narcissistic type of attitude, you're going to be all about, well, I'm making more money and I have the power. And I make more than you, so the decisions are mine. But that's not a relationship.
No.
That's not a marriage. That's not a union. That's not a true core love connection that I like to talk about. You're not in the relationship for the right reason. You know, to me, being in a relationship for the right reason is I'm now a teammate with this person along this journey of life. And whatever we earn is together. Whatever we do is together, you know, so I think it's all about how you approach that relationship that really drives the energies and how it either brings you closer together and emboldens each other, right? You know, even in that situation where the wife may be earning more money, the way they approach it could inspire him to go out and do his own thing, or, you know, or both be okay. Yeah, he may have that cap of how much he can earn, but he's doing what he loves, and because he loves what he loves what he does, that provides a certain satisfaction energy coming in there, right? And her showing respect for that, and, you know, even drawing attention to that. Look what he's creating. You know, it's kind of a mutual building up kind of a thing, right? Of, well, look what she's doing. Yeah, but look what he's doing. You know, people get sick of you lifting each other up, but really you respect.
That's ideal, yes.
Right, you respect each other enough to go, yeah, enough about me, but look about her, you know, and kind of vice versa. It's all about the energy you go into the relationship with, and the energy you foster with each other, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, because it is about making each other, you know, the sum of the parts should be better than the whole, or sorry, the whole should be better than the sum of the parts. So it's not having, so the man and woman coming together, you know, I heard Mark Victor Hansen said, you know, 1 + 1 does not equal 2, 1 + 1 = 11. And that's how I feel a beautiful dynamic relationship creates. It's you have the couple that come together, and now they're both able to create so much more for each other. So he's stepping into his power and his masculine energy. And again, however that looks. So money's just an example, and I use money because it's such a real example, and it's something that we all deal with and we can see, and it's tangible. But it's however he can prove that he is the masculine energy, and the masculine energy is the one that's out in the world making things happen. And supporting her in her dreams, because a woman can take that energy, she can actually generate it herself. That creative energy that makes her go out into the workforce and make things happen. But for a woman, she has to make sure she balances it with her feminine energy as well. So she needs to remember that she's still a woman, and that she can give to herself, allow people to give to her. A very independent woman who can take care of all of her needs, who doesn't need anybody, is not very attractive to most men that I've talked to.
Right.
Because, you know, the man needs to feel like he's got something to give. That makes the man feel more masculine, and when he feels more masculine, he's more attractive. And it's really about that energy. Is the more masculine a man feels around a certain woman, the more he becomes attracted to her, and the more feminine a woman feels around her man, the more attracted she becomes to him as well.
So they just kind of feed each other in that respect.
Absolutely. So it's, you know, in our modern day, we forget kind of going back to our roots, but it really does. We do need to remember that we are made up primarily of whatever energy, you know, our gender is. So the feminine, I need to remind myself, no matter how much I'm going out in the world and making things happen, that I can step back and allow my man to take care of me. And to give to me in a nurturing, loving, protective way. And the same thing with the man.
So it doesn't make you less of a woman. Right?
It makes you more of a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
You're embracing the feminine energy. That, I mean, it all goes back to how we evolved, you know, as a species.
Yes.
And really it comes down to the survival of the fittest, right? How did we survive? Well, because we had certain energies and certain way of acting towards each other that just fed each other to survive and procreate and survive and procreate.
And you come with the polarity, and the polarity coming together and kind of, you know, kind of like the DNA spiral just creates magic together. So when you truly have a bond between the masculine and feminine energy, it literally miracles and magic can happen. And those relationships are few and far between, but you see them. I have a good friend of mine who's in a relationship, and all I see everywhere is my darling, Melissa, my sweetheart of Melissa, I'm having dinner with her. She's the love of my life. She's my soulmate. And that's just giving so much to her. That's publicly announcing his passion for her. I mean, those are the days where the troubadours and the romantics were publicly announcing their love for a woman. And it just allowed the woman to feel so much more connected to the man. And the woman can now raise him up on a pedestal even higher, and he can really soar in his success. So it's a beautiful journey to have together. When both people understand how to give from a selfless level, and understand that, well, maybe it's not so selfless, because when you do give from that selfless level, you get a lot, and you get exponentially more than you can ever give. And that's the magic.
Absolutely. And it's all about, like we learned at LaunchCon there, I forget who was mentioning it, but we're talking about, relationships, be 100% in.
Yes.
Not I'm going to give my 15 away.
Not 99.
Right. Mm-hmm. You got to be vulnerable enough. And if you're not at a point where you can be that vulnerable or that committed in a relationship, are you in the right relationship? You got to be, I'm giving 100%, because I know that sometimes my partner in life is going to be in a situation where they can't give 100%, or maybe I feel my 100%, and is so much more than what they're able to give. Maybe they're only able to give 80 at this time in their life, but to them, they're still giving their 100%. Mm-hmm. So but that's where it's like, okay, am I getting to be an elitist where I think I'm doing so much more than everybody else? Mm-hmm. And really coming down to just maybe humble ourselves and realize, okay, let me make sure I'm in the right relationship, first of all. But then also, I need to be vulnerable enough to be open and share and communicate,
Yeah. And when couples come to me and they've got issues, I always bring them back to the basics. Let's start from the attraction phase. So I'll tell the woman, are you dressing up for him? Are you looking sexy? Are you taking care of your body? Or have you let yourself go? Have you become a mother and now just dress frumpy around the house?
Right.
Do you flirt with your husband? Do you bat those eyes at him? Do you touch him, sensually throughout the day, or, rub next to him? So it's going back to the basics of that attraction. And for the man, it's, are you taking care of her? Or are you putting her down? Are you nitpicking the things that she's doing? Are you judging her? Those things are really, they tear apart any sense of safety or security she has. And you see couples after a while, there's that dynamic where, that could happen. So for the man, it's, are you making a plan to see her? Are you saying, honey, let's go out on a date? Are you bringing her flowers? Are you, again, all those symbols of the safety, the protection, the security. Right. Are you providing that? Are you successful at work? Because a woman needs to respect her man, so if he's slacking off at work, she's going to lose respect for him. Because that's how he identifies, and for a man, his identity has to do with what he's creating in work. So if he's not ambitious, if he's not successful, there's something wrong with his psyche, there's something wrong with his soul. And that's where he needs to work at. Because a man, by their nature, needs to go out and accomplish. Women don't. Women love it, and we're starting to appreciate it, but it's not the feminine energy. The masculine energy is about accomplishment, about the hunt, about the kill. And unless he's out there hunting and killing and achieving, he is feeling less of a man, and he may bring that home and try to turn his wife into a mother. And so we bring it there, and then once that dynamic is taken care of, then we talk about the sex. I want to say mom, not mom, but woman, Jan, are you seducing your man? Are you dressing sexy? Are you pulling him into the bedroom? Are you, doing all that to get him turned on? and enticing him. So it's not about her initiating sex, but it's about enticing, because she does need him to, and I know both sexes can initiate, so I'm not talking about one or the other. But if we're going back to the basics, it's, are you enticing the man enough to have him just want to take you?
Right.
Because that makes a woman feel, again, more sexy and beautiful. And when they've nurtured that sexual energy and they're starting to have great sex again, and bring that passion back, then as he succeeds, is he bringing that success back to her? Or is he making her feel guilty for going out and shopping? Because that's one of the benefits. You build up a man who's now making 2, 3, 4 times the amount of money that, he earned when you met him. Right. He shouldn't make you feel, guilty to go shopping. He should bring you the flowers. He should wine and dine you. And again, I'm talking very stereotypical, but these are symbols of him sharing his success with her. As opposed to, I knew a couple who the man was very successful and he achieved greater success after he got married. And they had been married a couple of years, and their source of contention is he was earning all the money. And she was feeling very belittled because he would give her even she wasn't working. He was giving her an allowance, and it was so demeaning for her. And it was a measly allowance, but his idea is, I'm creating this success, and he was failing to recognize her as kind of the wind beneath his wings. Yeah. So it's super important for him to do that, to show her off. A relationship where maybe they're not married yet, and the man is not bringing the love of his life around to people, is someone who's not recognizing her role in his success. So to be able to show her off and introduce her as his soulmate, the love of his life, sometimes that's all a woman needs. And that allows her to move into her heart center and give him that unconditional love that gives him not only exponentially more success, but fulfillment in the process, a sense of purpose in life. And it just allows him to feel successful in all areas of his life, not just making money and not just in earning money.
Yeah, and one thing you touched on there that I think really is a detriment to a lot of relationships is when we approach it from fear.
Yes.
That's when we have, in my opinion, our own accounts. We don't share money. We don't talk about money, even though money is, the interview I did with Debbie Todd, who's in the Launch Club. They're an amazing person, but she cited on the interview I did with her that 80% of the time is cited as one of the main reasons, if not, it is the main reason people split, some kind of conflict about money. So,
absolutely.
If you approach your relationship in fear, and money is part of that fear of, I'm going to lose all my money. If you're a billionaire and you can't afford a few million in the divorce, well, you're thinking about it the wrong way in the first place. How much am I? If you're approaching it as a risk avoidance, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Right.
You can't approach relationships because that leads to, in my opinion, self-fulfilling prophecy. And I know, I grew up not trusting women, and it ruined several of my relationships because I was always questioning, and I even attracted somebody that, wasn't loyal and this and that. And then, it just kind of reaffirms that story of, well, women can't be trusted. Until you can break that cycle, break that story, and really learn the dynamics of relationships before you get into one, you just do a self-fulfilling prophecy and keep re-energizing that prophecy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, money is the number one thing that breaks up relationships, but it all has to do with the power. Who has the power? And who's sharing the power?
Yeah. Well, and if you can, money can be, if you do it right, as I learned from Debbie, you can do it right by, she's a CPA, right? So money is her thing. But, and I was talking to my older son who just moved in with his girlfriend in their first apartment. They're all excited, that kind of thing. So I kind of held a new couple finance 101 thing.
Nice.
But, you got to understand where you're coming from with regard to money. What's your money history in your family? Did you guys struggle? Was it always paycheck to paycheck? And why did you spend this kind of a thing? Or was it, a tool to be used to, hey, you know what? Every paycheck we're going to save $30 every paycheck, and every quarter we'll have to go on a weekend somewhere. It adds up, right?
Yeah.
It's $30 or $40, whatever. But, just using money as a tool to, one, you got to pay your bills, but two, to reach your goals, financial, even relationship-wise, money should be part of reaching those goals of keeping your relationships strengthened by going and having those weekend getaways where you don't leave the hotel room.
Right. Date nights every week, yes.
Yeah.
To live your life, to live and have fun and enjoy things, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm a big proponent on his account, her account, and joint account.
Yeah, I am as well. And I think, it's like when you're just moving in together, maybe it's a joint account for the bills and his account for his money and paycheck stuff and her account. But then when you get married, I think, in my opinion, that dynamic changes because now, okay, well, there's college funds for the kids if you have kids.
Right.
There's, now, it's all our money, not mine and yours. So to me, his account and her account turns into individual play money accounts.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So, and I got this from Debbie too, is like they each had an account, depending on your spending range, your income range, it may just be $25 a week. That's regardless of what you want to spend that $25 on, that's all you get that week.
Yeah.
But it's your money to go do with what you want. But everything else is kind of allocated into, hey, here's our savings, here's our trip money, here's our retirement, here's our bills. It kind of becomes more complicated, but if you plan it out correctly, it takes that money challenge out of the way because you know what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it gives you both, again, when we talk about money and control and power, it gives you both power over the money, whereas I think most people live where money has power over them. I've always told my clients, we want to step out of the whole money may I game. Money, may I go on vacation? Money, may I buy the car? Money, may I do this? We want to step out of that and say, money, you're going to do this. And that's taking the power back. So that's a whole other conversation, but it really is, when you talk about money and relationships, there's a lot of control, a lot of power issues. So having those designated accounts that are allocated for specific things that are agreed upon, and both partners have a sense of control over their piece of it, does put them in charge of the money, and it takes the money off the table.
Yeah,
because it's not a thing that's controlling them anymore. They're controlling it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Trez, before I do the whole closing thing, anything else? This has been awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. No, it's been awesome for me too. It's been my pleasure to be with you and to share these ideas with you, and I appreciate being on your show. So thank you for inviting me. This is a real treat.
Yeah, I feel a little more educated in the dating scene and women energy and that kind of thing. So.
Great. Fabulous.
So, Trez, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show, and such a great amount of information and wisdom, and I know the listeners are going to love it, and quite a few of them probably going to want to get in touch with you. So, if they resonate with your message and your mission, and maybe you can state your mission and how people can get in touch with you and how you can help them in what you do.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, they can go to my website. It's under my name, TrezIbrahim.com. Or it's also under lifemasterysolution.com. And if they join my inner circle, they'll get all the information on upcoming programs. I've got a lot of free resources there. I'm actually launching my Modern Goddess program, which is a program for women. Sorry. But it's really how to be that modern goddess. It really allows you to step in, be successful out in the workplace, and set boundaries and get what you need done, but still step into that feminine power. So it's really how to be the title is How to Be a Sweet, Sexy, Badass Queen. and really own all aspects of you. So if you go to lifemasterysolution.com or trezibrahim.com, just join the inner circle and I'll get all the information out to you, including all the free resources.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
I've learned a lot, and I'm sure the listeners will agree this has been an amazing time. So thanks so much again for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Have a great evening.